How's it going, everybody? Free your mind here. Top General was so fearful Trump might spark war with China that he pulled a Benedict Arnold and made secret calls to his counterpart in Beijing, new book says. Mark Milley, the guy that's concerned about white rage, then getting Americans out of Afghanistan. Yes, the same guy that should have been fired for that, as well as Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and Biden and Kamala and everybody who was involved in Afghanistan. That's funny they swept that under the rug. In my opinion, Afghanistan was worse than January 6th. One American died on January 6th, and that was Ashley Babbitt. They call her a terrorist, so in their mind, nobody died from January 6th. You're going to say the officers died. Well, it was proven that the officer that died, I believe his name was Brian Schmidt, died of natural causes and was not related to January 6th. Yeah, so in my opinion, Afghanistan was worse than January 6th. 13 Americans died, and countless more Afghanis are dying and have died. And we lost a war. We surrendered basically to a bunch of farmers, just like Vietnam. Essentially, they're not really farmers, but the comparison to Vietnam, they're farmers. They're literally not military people. We gave them billions of dollars in assets, and Biden called the Afghan president and asked him to lie to say they were winning the war. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And he also gave the Taliban a hit list. Yeah, I'd say Afghanistan was worse than January 6th. But anyway, this is me rambling about it. The same guy, Mark Milley, should have been fired. He's literally committing treason. The definition of treason, we'll get to that at the end. To be clear, in layman's terms, for anybody who didn't understand what the first statement was, the chairman of Joint Chiefs promised to tip off the CCP if the U.S. was planning a military action. That's aiding and abetting your enemy. And we were going to say, well, for your mind, it has to be war. We're at, like, informational war, if you haven't noticed, with China. We may not be at kinetic war, but we're at every other war possible with them. It may not be kinetic, but it's still war. General Mark Milley held top-secret meetings to block Trump's nuke access, told staff to disobey all but his orders. That's disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Aiding and abetting the enemy. Breaking several Pentagon officers present in Milley's secret meetings are willing to testify against him under oath, per White House official. Good, absolutely. They should, try him for treason against the United States. And these are from not reputable news sources, but they're still news sources. And I'll give you the sources for them in a minute. Mr. Trump, they noted, is still the commander-in-chief unless he is removed. The military is bound to follow his lawful orders. While military officials can refuse to carry out orders they view as illegal or slow the process by sending those orders for careful legal review, they cannot remove the president from the chain of command. That would amount to a military coup, the official said. So this could be considered a military coup and treason. One call took place on October 30th, 2020, 4 days before the election that unseated President Trump, and the other on January 8th, 2021, 2 days after the Capitol siege carried out by his supporters in a quest to cancel the vote. See how they don't say insurrection anymore? Because the FBI deemed it not an insurrection, and it's not an insurrection by definition. It's a hell of an insurrection when they don't have guns. No matter what you are told, you do the procedure, you do the process, and I'm part of that procedure, Milley told the officers, according to the book. He then went around the room, looked each officer in the eye, and asked them verbally to confirm they understood. Got it? Milley asked, according to the book. Yes, sir. Milley considered it an oath. The author's right. Sources come from CNN, Washington Post, New York Times. Obviously, I can't go on Washington Post. They have a paywall. I believe New York Times does as well. I'm not paying for that garbage. General Mark Milley secretly held Pentagon meetings to undermine Trump because he believed the former U.S. president would use nuclear weapons in his final days in office. General Milley told China in a secret phone call that he would give advanced warning if the U.S. was ever going to attack. That's embedding and aiding your enemy. That is helping your enemy out. In a pair of secret phone calls, General Mark A. Milley, the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, assured his Chinese counterpart, General Li Jianxing of the PLA, that the U.S. would not strike, according to a new book by Bob Woodward and Robert Costa. They didn't kill themselves, by the way. Twice in the final months of Trump's administration, the country's top military official was so fearful that the president's actions might spark a war with China that he moved urgently to avert armed conflict. In a pair of secret phone calls, General Mark A. Milley, the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, assured his Chinese counterpart, General Li Jianxing of the People's Liberation Army, that the United States would not strike, according to a new book. One call took place on October 30th, 4 days before we read all that, but as you see, these are in the book, so... And this was reported on January 9th. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told House Democrats that she had gotten assurance there are safeguards in place in the event President Trump wants to launch a nuclear weapon. So, the book confirms. It confirms everything that happened on January 9th. Nancy Pelosi colluded with General Mark Milley and staged a military coup against President Trump to undermine his authority. Boy. But nobody's going to be charged with this. Nobody's going to be held accountable for this. Let's be real. Nobody's going to be held accountable. The only person that might be held accountable is General Mark Milley, because it can, protect Nancy Pelosi's ass. Speaker Nancy Pelosi of California on Friday took the unprecedented step of asking the chairman of Joint Chiefs Staffs about available precautions to prevent Trump from initiating military action abroad or using his sole authority to launch nuclear weapons on the last day of his term. In a phone call to the chairman, General Mark A. Milley, Ms. Pelosi appeared to be seeking to have the Pentagon leadership essentially remove Trump from his authorities as the commander-in-chief. That could be accomplished by ignoring the president's orders or slowing them by questioning whether they were issued legally. She colluded. She colluded. And now, what is the definition of treason, or what is treason? Whoever owing allegiance to the United States levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death, or shall be imprisoned not less than 5 years and fined under this title, but not less than $10,000, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. Both Nancy Pelosi and General Mark Milley should be tried for treason, or at least staging a military coup. And you're going to be like, well, how is he Benedict Arnold? Benedict Arnold was an American military officer who served during the Revolutionary War. He fought with distinction for the American Continental Army, rising to the rank of Major General before defecting to the British side of the conflict in 1780. So he basically betrayed the U.S. to the British. But you're asking, how is this a military coup? In a coup, it is the military, paramilitary, or opposing political faction that deposes the current government and assumes power. Whereas in, I can't pronounce that word, I apologize. The military disposes, the existing government installs and assembles a civilian government. What did they do? They essentially took away, or tried to take away, Trump's powers before he left office. That would be a military coup. That's going to be a video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.